favorite Reddit, which is
Am I the asshole? Am I the asshole?
Am I the asshole?
Look, here's the situation. Am I the asshole?
Right.
I also hear that you paid for my sister's house in full and her college. You didn't even pay my college.
Talking about that I feel embarrassed, to me, is the snake in the yard, and there's a dragon sitting on your couch. I gotta tell you, if somebody said anything about my mom, you will probably get a phone call.
Well, you shouldn't be having another man and living in my son's house. Your son wasn't shit.
Yeah, right? Like, that's not cool.
Your dad's son was terrible.
There's a grown person. He has had all kinds of sexual intercourse. I think my favorite meme was, your mama was a hoe. She didn't get them 4-5 kids from, being good at baking cookies. Right?
She must bake the right kind of cookies, though.
Artlist.io.
Hello, and welcome to Rainbow Dreamcatcher,
the Love Podcast.
My name is Nilla, and I am a marriage and family therapist and relationship coach. I travel the world helping individuals learn the relationship skills they need to have happy and healthy partnerships.
And I'm Big Sexy, her loving husband and co-host, here to provide levity.
All the jokes. All right, y'all, we are going to get back into this format that, at least for us, is a lot of fun. Give us a little bit of a shout. Let us know if it's fun for you. I think it's a lot of fun, and that is my favorite Reddit, which is, Am I the asshole?
Am I the asshole?
Am I the asshole?
Look, here's the situation. Am I the asshole?
So, without further ado, we have chosen questions for each other.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know what the question's going to be. We haven't heard the story, and we're just going to maybe chat about it. So let's see what we got today. I'm going to start.
Okay.
All right. When my wife and I were talking about getting married, my dad said that he would give us a down payment for a home. We were thrilled and kept that in mind. We would be able to afford a good starter home with his help, and we scrimped and saved to add to it. Except apparently he, and that's in caps, meant a sum of money good for a down payment for a house near us, where the cost of living is low. He did not ever mean a down payment for a home in Colorado, where my wife and I have lived since we were in college. I don't know how old this person is. I don't know how long that is. He said he thought I would be, quote unquote, smart enough to realize that we'd need to move somewhere with a lower cost of living than Colorado. He kept saying, move to a cheaper city. Our lives are here, our friends, our jobs, our hobbies. You can't exactly leave your house and be up on a 14,000-foot peak in 6 hours where my family is. I told him that we had never talked about moving back there, and we never would, that we would rather be stuck renting for a while longer, somewhere we didn't want to be, and that the move to a cheaper city wouldn't work for us. He said, so be it, and he gave us the amount, and that was that. I expressed gratitude and thanked him for the money. It is still going towards the goal. Well, because of this shift in our finances, we've had to make a lot of changes to save up for the rest of the money. We cut out vacations, birthday gifts, holidays. We won't be traveling home for a few years. At our current rate, we should have an okay down payment by the end of next year, 2025.
Wow.
My dad confronted us about this because we won't come for a summer break trip and told me that I was being a selfish, entitled brat because I hadn't gotten my way. That I was essentially punishing the rest of the family because we, quote unquote, assumed what his gift would be. I told him that I was grateful for the amount he gave us, but that it means we do need to buckle down and save every penny if we want to be able to afford a house anytime soon. Even townhouses around us are easily over $400K, and that's for the sketchy ones. But is my dad right? Am I the asshole? Now, before you answer,
okay,
there is an edit because apparently this got a lot of heat.
Okay.
A lot of buzz on Reddit. So here's the edit to add frequently asked questions. 1, there was no amount formally discussed. He said a down payment and that was it. 2, for my siblings, he paid for college. He paid cash in full for my sister's house. It was $317,000. He did not pay for my college. Interesting, irrelevant fact. 3, they are invited to come here anytime, but I believe it should be but they believe it should be me to go there because I'm the one who moved. And 4, no, we do not go out to eat. There's no avocado toast, Starbucks, etc., etc. Am I the asshole?
No. First and foremost, I don't think you're an asshole for buckling down and you have a goal in mind. And your father wants to help you with that goal, not as much as would have been beneficial for you to do all the other things you wanted to do, but they still help. But that it just shifted what you were going to do in order to reach that goal. So no, you're not an asshole because you set a goal, you're still going for the goal. And even though you're going to you're sacrificing. Like, it's not like you're not going in order to punish the family. You're not saying, it's not like you're going other places, I hope, right? It's not like you're,
no, it's no vacations,
right?
No, like
so not like you're going on other vacations and just any kind of family vacation. You're like, nah, fuck that. Then you would be an asshole. But if you're like sacrificing across the board,
yeah, I do wonder though if that's maybe the energy. Like, I hear the facts. I also maybe know how families work.
Right.
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 And what tends to happen, I think, is that people get triggered by various different things. I'm going to guess this is maybe not the first time a discussion of money has come up.
Right.
The reason I say that is because everything tracks until we get to the comparative.
Right.
Which I recognize is additional information that the original poster added because people were asking about it. But I think they were asking about it because it's relevant.
Right.
That in some ways, while there was an expression of gratitude, it's really clear there was an expectation of a certain amount of financial support. And not just because, we're talking about a house in my area, but also because you gave a certain amount of financial support to my siblings. And I expect that you will give me the same amount of financial support.
Right.
So to me, I wonder, I don't know for sure, but I wonder sometimes that when we have that kind of like, what are you talking about? Like, me? I'm just doing the good right thing. Maybe you're doing the good right thing, or are you being an asshole? I think you have to seek the intention of the person.
Right.
If the intention is as they stated, which is that I'm just going to have to knock off everything for a year.
Yeah.
Great. Right. If part of that intention is, and also, fuck you, Dad.
Right. I mean,
you might be responding to the fuck you, Dad. I don't know.
There may be that energy in there. Like, I only have the against one-sided story, so I only have the information given.
I ask people to maybe check into what their energy is, because oftentimes I think we mask our emotions, particularly from our family members, and maybe we are not masking as much as we think we are. Right? Maybe you're leaking a little bit about the idea that my sister got $317,000 and you won't even help me get a $400,000 house. That's what I hear.
Yeah. Right? I also hear that, you paid for my sister's house in full and her college. You didn't even pay my college.
Yeah, right. So at first I was with you with like, this sounds like it's just a really unfortunate misunderstanding. But as I read through the lines, depending on
the energy you're giving,
on the energy that you're giving,
and the real reason behind it, right? I mean, if the reason is what you say it is, then no, you're not an asshole. But if the reason is that if your dad is responding to or you had made a promise to go out and then change your mind the last minute because you couldn't afford whatever, or you didn't even ask, hey, we can't make it, but is the trip important? Can you help with this trip? I mean, if you need to offer, ask for, I want to go,
Yeah.
present the I want to go. Can you help us go? If it's important for us to be there with you, can you help that? Because we can't afford to do so. We're saving for a house, right? If that didn't present itself, then yeah, I think you're a bit of an asshole.
Yeah, maybe, right? So I chose this one very carefully because I thought at first super clear cut, and then I thought, wow.
There's some
So I'm gonna throw
gray
this
area.
in the MYA. MYTA? Maybe you're the asshole.
MYTA?
MYTA. That's our
Maybe.
new designation.
Maybe you're the asshole.
Maybe you're the asshole. You didn't ask, but we told you. All right.
My turn. Okay, here we go. All right, so this next one is, the headline is, am I the asshole for saying obviously not when my friend asked if I liked provider men?
Oh, interesting.
So
I'm so curious to find out what provider men are.
I have a, here we go.
All right.
My boyfriend Joe and I have been together 2 years and we live together.
Mm-hmm.
I make more money than him.
Okay.
And we split bills proportionally.
Okay.
As for dates and trips, whoever plans it pays.
Okay.
It's a very equitable relationship and we're fine with it being that way. Then over the weekend, we were out with 2 other couples, friends of mine, and my one friend was saying her brother was buying his girlfriend a car.
Okay.
So the topic turned to modern dating dynamics.
Okay.
Eventually, one of my friends said something along the lines of, oh, but you don't really bother about a guy paying for stuff, do you? And I said, obviously not. I've never been too worried about who's picking up the bill. And the conversation moved on. I didn't think it was a problem. However, Joe is really annoyed about it. He says he feels embarrassed
Who's Joe? Joe is my boyfriend?
Joe's her boyfriend.
Joe's boyfriend.
Joe's the boyfriend. He says he feels embarrassed by the fact that I basically said it was obvious he doesn't pay for things and that my response was making fun of him. I think he's projecting, but I don't really want to say that in case I'm missing something. I've only mentioned this to my family who are obviously on my side, so I'm just trying to get an unbiased perspective. Was that me putting my foot in my mouth?
Interesting. So the question is, am I the asshole for saying something like, obviously, I don't depend on my boyfriend for my financial support?
Right. I think that the word obviously is doing some heavy lifting in there.
Doing some heavy lifting there.
Right,
Yeah.
in terms of his hurt feelings.
Yeah. Whenever there are these kinds of what I call $5,000 reactions to $5 problems, you're reacting to a different problem, right? Talking about, that I feel embarrassed, to me is the snake in the yard and there's a dragon sitting on your couch. And the dragon sitting on your couch is that there's something about the dynamic between these two partners around money, which is true for all relationships. Money is one of those kind of foundational resources that whether I have enough or a lot or not enough and not a lot, it impacts how we engage the world and therefore how we engage our relationships. I find that irrespective of gender, even though this tends to be a bit gendered, when there is a big disparity between what partners are earning, and again on how they go about these things, there can be certain patterns that develop. One pattern, for example, might be the idea that the person that makes more money feels like they should have a certain additional level of gratitude. It's not a bad thing. It's just something that tends to develop over time. The person that is bringing in less financial resources often has to have an understanding of their own value and worth within the relationship, right? And I'm going to guess, just based on what I'm hearing in just that simple kind of like brief sentence, that maybe that dynamic is starting to show up where the boyfriend is having to figure out, outside of money, what do I bring to this relationship, right? A lot of housewives go through that process, right? Like I'm taking, what is the worth of taking care of children? What is the worth of taking care of a home, right? What is my value in this relationship if I am not the primary financial provider, which is the role that those people that are born male, assigned male, and live as male in our culture often have a pressure to perform. So yeah, I would say y'all need to sit down and have a serious conversation about money and how money affects your relationship. I would downplay your boyfriend's feelings about that,
Right.
but I would want to understand what is triggering this larger response to something that obviously, there's that word again, was just a brief moment of conversation for you.
Right.
So I would say y'all need to have a serious conversation about how each of you are feeling financially and how your financial selves actually line up together.
Yeah, I would not say you put your foot in your mouth, and I think that it, the perspective of it, right? Intent comes into play. You weren't making fun of him.
Mm-hmm.
You weren't saying that. Obviously not. Look at who I'm dating. I obviously don't care.
And if you did, that'd be rude.
Right.
Rude.
Then that would make sense, and that would make you the asshole saying some shit like that. But your viewpoint was, no, I'm not worried about that. I make my own money. You came from a place of independence, and we hear things differently. We just do. We just hear things, that we go through our own filter. We get intake, it goes through our own filter, and then we respond through what we perceive the intent to be, which isn't always the case. So you definitely guys got to have a conversation,
yeah, for sure,
around that, and find value and other stuff like that, and figure out what because if he's feeling triggered by not providing, then he's feeling a bit insecure about that, and take some reassurance, and communication. It's very helpful.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go very firmly on not the asshole.
Yeah, not the asshole.
Neither one really the asshole.
Yeah.
All right. So is that in?
Yeah, that's it.
It's NOTA.
Not in.
Neither one's the asshole.
Oh, neither one. NOITA. Neither one is the asshole.
All right. New acronyms happening every day. This one I just pulled up because the headline looked interesting. I haven't read the whole story, so we'll see. We're gonna learn this together. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
I am 35, newlywed, and I am married to a 37-year-old male. I have 2 kids from a previous marriage. My past husband, let's call him Sid. I don't know why we call him that, but he died 2 years ago in a fatal car accident.
Oh,
that's terrible.
Rest in peace.
However, before dying, he changed our marital house to my name. Okay. Long story short, our relationship at that time was hitting the rock bottom because of finding out he had cheated on me multiple times and lying about work trips, only to find out he's spending nights with his mistress. So I was done and I wanted a divorce. But he came back begging for me to stay and promised to change. And I told him I only stay with him if he legally feeds our marital house to my name. He agreed and actually did change it. And that happened 6 years ago. That was 4 years before his sudden death. He truly did get better, and God knows that I forgive him with my whole heart. And I'm not stating what he did in the past out of bitterness. I'm just stating to explain how the house became my property. So that's the context.
Okay.
My new husband and I met at work in last September, and we got married 3 months ago. He's very good to my kids, and he is very respectful of Sid's memory and knows that the house is mine. The problem is Sid's mom.
Uh-oh.
Sid's mom. Interesting. For the past 2 years, she has been visiting regularly, and I had no problem because I did understand that those are her grandkids.
Right.
All right, so that makes sense. However, since I got married, and even before, because my husband moved in before we got married, she still visited us and even stayed for the night. I tried bringing it up to her that I'm now a married woman that is entitled to privacy, and so does my husband. However, she brushed me off. Last week, though, she visited without informing us, saying she will stay the night tonight.
Ooh.
I've honestly had enough. I told her that kids will be having an exam tomorrow. We are not ready for visitors. Tonight, I'll call her when we're okay to have a visit. She didn't budge, and we started fighting. She insulted my husband, saying he's living on another man's property. Ooh!
Oh, here we go.
I talked back, saying this is my rightful property that I earned after enduring lots of shit for years.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, and that's between me and Sid. I threatened to call the police if she didn't leave, so she left. Now Sid's sister called saying I'm cruel for kicking out my former mother-in-law and that I do not deserve to have this house and that I'm separating a grandmother from her grandkids, even though I said many times that we can visit at her house and that I'm okay with her visiting, but not every 2 days. And I, the asshole, woo, that escalated so quick. I didn't know it was going to be Sid's mom. Wow. Okay. So that's your question. What would you do? What would you do? Would you be the asshole here? Or you the asshole here?
Those are tense relationships. Okay, so it sounds like it's around the house that the issue being, I'm guessing, from the mom's perspective, that she still views that as her son's house and is not respecting this new man living in her son's house with her former daughter-in-law and her grandbabies, right? And the daughter-in-law, the author of this question, is like, nah, this is my house. And it is. It's her house. She put time, effort, and it's been her house for a while. And is willing to make arrangements for the grandbabies to see their grandma. So she's not keeping the children away from their grandmother. I will slide in here and say that the sister-in-law, the current sister-in-law, need to shut the fuck up and mind the business.
Wow, that's pretty quick too. What?
Yeah. She need to mind the business. Like, it's between the woman and her former mother-in-law. She doesn't need to chime in with her opinions about you were being mean to your mama, your ex-mama-in-law, with her opinion. Like, have your opinions, but her chiming in with those opinions are the reason why this person's asking the question.
Yeah, I mean, it's not helpful. Certainly
it's not helpful at all.
I gotta tell you, if somebody said anything about my mom, you will probably get a phone call. It's not right.
But that's what I mean. But it's not her mother. It's her new husband's sister-in-law. Did I hear that right?
No. It's the daughter of the former mother-in-law. It's
Sid's sister.
Sid's sister.
Okay.
Yes. Let me make sure. Sid's sister called saying I'm Sid's sister.
Then I retract my.
I mean, it's not helpful.
No, it's not helpful, but I do retract the fever of which I lashed out.
Yeah, I was like, because I would maybe call somebody about talking about my mama. Right.
It's not even your mama. It's your brother's mother, your brother's new wife. But yeah, okay, I digress.
Yes,
I digress. Okay.
No, you talk about my mama.
Fair. She was
talking about my dead brother's mama. You might get some of this smoke.
And so I get it. Okay, so there is, you are treating my mother poorly.
Yes.
Okay, I get the interaction there. That's fine.
Now, that being said,
not helpful, but fine.
That being said, Mama was clearly out of line.
Mom was definitely out of line.
Clearly out of line.
100%.
Mama's probably grieving.
Still, yeah.
Part of the grieving process is that it can be very difficult to see other people move forward, while perhaps you are maybe stuck in a place that you cannot move forward. I can't imagine how difficult it would be to suddenly lose a child, no matter how old that child is.
Right.
To outlive your children is something that is so devastating, unbelievably painful. I understand on both sides. One, I understand the patience of this family and this woman. I want to just note how patient and kind and supportive you must have been these past couple of years to, work through this with someone that wasn't even your mama-in-law at the time, right? Like your former mother-in-law.
Yeah.
So to maintain that relationship with kindness and compassion, I think is wonderful. I think the challenge is that, if you don't set boundaries, right, the only thing you're going to have left is limits. And limits say, I'm going to let you get as far into my nerve as I can. And then as soon as you hit that last part of my nerve, I'm snapping back.
Right.
And that's the wrong place to have that boundary, right? Like, I hate to say it, like the kind of cruelty that should have happened, quote unquote, is that mama showed up And maybe you didn't open the door. Maybe I just talked to mom through the Ring camera and explained to mom that, it's not a good time. And unfortunately, you didn't let us know. And, we appreciate it. Can we help you get home?
And there should have been an initial boundary set. Like, you just can't just show up.
You can't just show up. Right.
You can't just show up here.
But again, I get with the context where that might have seemed compassionate,
right?
Or that might have been seen as caring. But I think it's another example of, when we bend boundaries or when we don't establish boundaries as a way to help support relationships,
right?
It actually ends up falling down because you gotta have boundaries.
Yeah.
You know, you gotta. What is it? What's Cat Williams? You gotta tell them no.
You gotta
tell them no.
You gotta tell them no.
You gotta tell them no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no, I would say you're not the asshole.
I think everybody had some asshole-ish behavior, but no, generally I don't think anybody here is the asshole.
No, I don't think the author had any. I didn't hear any asshole behavior.
She did say that she lived with a whole bunch of shit from her son.
Oh, she did throw that.
I mean,
right, she did throw that back in the face.
Everybody was throwing some knives here. Everybody was throwing a few. Everybody had their weapons up. I get it.
Right.
Everybody had their asshole moments.
Right.
Right. Like
she said, you're like, well, you should be having another man and living in my son's house. Your son wasn't shit.
Yeah, right? Like, that's not cool.
Yeah. Your dad's son was terrible.
Yeah, the only person in here that didn't catch no smoke and shouldn't catch no smoke is Sid.
Right. Well, Sid gone.
Sid's gone.
And look at the current husband stayed out of it.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, maybe he didn't.
He wasn't mentioned. So.
Right, he wasn't mentioned, which tells me that
he
didn't. He may have stayed out of it, which would be the smart thing to do.
Yeah.
In this situation.
Yeah, it's hard to think of situations where it'd be cool to throw out a mother-in-law, but
yeah,
we found one. Okay,
yeah. All right, there you go. All right, here we go. Let's see. Here we go. I got this one because it kind of hits close to home, but not really. You'll see what I mean.
Interesting. Close to home.
So far, some of these have already hit kind of close to home. Actually, interesting.
What? I have never thrown out my mother-in-law. Not put that lie.
No, not. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying you threw out my mother-in-law or whatever.
We just talked about it, and then you talk about close to home.
Not necessarily from any.
I want our listeners to know I love my mother-in-law.
Yes, and I also love my mother-in-law as well.
And I will never throw my mother-in-law out of my house.
And I won't tell that story on this air because not without communicating with you first.
Oh, what? Okay. Well, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Y'all want to hear the story?
Maybe next episode.
Let us know. Hit up a comment and say,
what was you going to say? What was you going to say, Sexy? What was you going to say?
Tell it, damn it. Tell it.
All right. Here we go. I'm 25 male, living with my girlfriend, 28 female. Okay. I'm raised by my mom, 47 female. Okay. Only as she got divorced early on when I was a kid. Mm-hmm. After that, she never remarried or dated again. She works as a school teacher and, in general, a very reserved woman.
Now, who is this to me again?
What?
Who is this to me?
Who are you? Are you the author?
I'm describing. Who's talking? The author is describing themselves? Or
the author is the 25-year-old male living with their girlfriend, and it's his mom that he's talking about.
Thank you. Okay.
Got it. Yeah. All right. She worked. In general, a very reserved woman, doesn't have any social friend circle of her own. Mm-hmm. Prior to my relationship, I used to live with her, and now I bought another apartment adjacent to my mom's apartment. That's too close.
Adjacent, like next door? Adjacent sound like right next door.
It sounds like right next door, or even in the same apartment complex.
Okay.
Across the hall.
All right. Well,
it does.
So let's continue.
Now, my girlfriend goes well with my mom. Like, she got really close to my mom in no time.
Oh.
Once she asked me why my mom is single and living a lonely life. She is young and should be living a happy life and should date again. Let's talk about determining how happy a life is by dating. Anyhow. Now, I've never had this discussion with my mom. I asked her to talk to my mom if she feels like this. And she did. But my mom never explicitly said that she wanted to date or remarry. All she said that she feels odd, she don't have zeal for any hobby, and my wife took it as loneliness and started convincing her to go out and start dating. It's like when one girl talks to her bestie, that kind of relationship she had with my mom. And God knows why my girlfriend took this thing on as a mission to make my mom date, to make her settle again, to find a man for her. I told her to slow. This is in parentheticals. I told her to slow down and really check with my mom. Maybe it's not parenthetical. It might be just a punctuation typo.
Okay.
I told her to slow down and really check with my mom if she really wants this, because to me it was evident that girlfriend was pressing mom too much, and mom has this habit of accepting things and agreeing with her. Girlfriend created mom's profiles on many dating apps, revamped her clothes, took her to the parlor, and scheduled a date for mom. When I was out on a work trip, she scheduled it. Turned out it was a guy in early 30s, only wanted to get in pants of mom.
You better go ahead, mama.
And my girlfriend happily asked mom to go with him.
Yeah.
He tried something on mom and mom resisted. He dropped her in the middle of the road. That's when mom called me and I asked girlfriend to go pick her up. Now I'm pissed at my girlfriend for this. And she is of opinion that it's just the beginning and such things will happen and it's normal.
Oh, he's mad at his girlfriend? Okay, that is, I'm sorry. Sir.
So he's mad at the girlfriend for convincing his mom to re-enter the dating pool and get remarried.
Sir.
Am I the asshole?
Yes, sir. You are the asshole. I'm going to tell you the asshole. Your mother is a grown person. She has dated. She has had all kinds of sexual intercourse. I think my favorite meme was your mama was a hoe. She didn't get them 4-5 kids from, being good at baking cookies. Right?
She must bake the right kind of cookies though. Mm-hmm.
That's weird. So I can understand as an adult child how difficult it might be to think of your mother as an autonomous person who can make her own decisions. Even if she can be influenced by other people, it's her decision to make. She can go on a date. She can go get it with some 30-year-old who is interested. And unfortunately, in the dating world, people are just jerks. Yeah. It's not your girlfriend's fault that your mom encountered a jerk in the first engagement around dating.
He was an asshole.
But I wonder for you about this idea that your girlfriend is convincing your mom to do something. I don't know your mom. I hear you saying that she's easily influenced, but if she was so easily influenced, why aren't you influencing her in the other direction? That tells me, right, that if you want to be an influence, then influence. And if you don't, then maybe she's just making her own decision. And she can decide if she wants to date. She can decide if she wants to go. She can decide if she wants to take the parlor appointment, as you put it. But all of those are her decisions. So are you the asshole being mad at your girlfriend? Yeah. I mean, come on, stop it.
Yeah.
Stop it. Your mama is grown. She could date. You have to be uncomfortable sometimes.
Yeah. And I agree with the girlfriend. This is the beginning, because your mom could easily not answer ads on a dating app.
Right.
She'd be like, nah, I'm not going.
She can swipe whatever direction.
Yeah. She can say, oh, thanks for that. Put it down. Take it off.
Your mama could have said, oh, is that dude 30 years old? For me. Instead, she was like, I guess I'll find myself in his car. Right. That's a decision.
And unfortunately, it's not the girlfriend you should be mad at. You should be mad at that dude.
Get mad at that dude. That's the dude that did it.
Who disrespected your mother that way. It's not your girlfriend who wants to help out somebody. I'm pretty sure they had conversations that you may not be privy to. About her re-entering the dating world. Maybe that's something your mom into. You just can't see your mom like that.
Yeah, and she ain't gonna tell you because you probably don't want to hear it.
You're her son. You don't want to hear it. She might try. She might try to tell you. You probably turn her down. Like, no, I don't want. No, la 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 la. I don't want to hear la la la. You talking about that la la la.
Let your mama live her life. You are grown. She is grown. Let your mama live her life.
And she only in her late 40s.
And if you don't want to be in her business, move. Move.
Your mom in her late 40s, man. Look.
She got a whole lot of life left.
A whole lot of life left. A lot. A lot.
Teach them 30-year-olds.
I imagine if your mother's age was doubled, but even then, it's still her life.
Her life.
It's still her life.
Her life.
But I'm like, 40s.
Mama, go teach those 30-year-olds a thing or two.
Yeah.
And
break it down.
Make sure that you have a way to get home on your own.
Right.
Without being in their car.
Right.
But no, you are definitely the asshole for being mad at your girlfriend.
Absolutely.
All right. You want to do one more?
All right. Let's see how we are on time.
Yeah, we got one more. You ready?
Yeah, we got time for one more, sure.
I don't know what this one is too, but I did like the headline. I'm gonna skip the headline and go right in. Here we go. My husband, 29 male, and I, 29 female, got into an argument this morning over the dishwasher. I work from home as a product manager for a software company. 50% of my time is dedicated to product demos after we announce a huge partnership. My husband is unemployed, but is in school, and he graduates next year.
Congratulations.
Congrats. Today, he bought me Chipotle for lunch, and I was eating it at my desk. He sat with me in my office for a while, and we made an inquiry call to a property management company to take over our out-of-state rental when our current tenant moves out. This is a lot of detail.
She's gonna have bubble guts later.
Good Lord. When I was handing him my plate, and we went about our separate business for the day. I was preparing for Friday's demo, and about 10 minutes later, I hear him holler from the kitchen, but I didn't hear what he said. So I replied, "What?" And he responds, "Is the dishwasher clean?" And I said, "I don't know. What's the light say?" "There's a blue indicator light when they're clean." He said, "There's no light."
Oh, that's helpful.
So I walk out to the kitchen, and he's extremely frustrated, and this totally caught me off guard. He told me I had no reason to be upset because he was just asking about the dishwasher, and a simple yes or no would have been fine. I said I didn't know. That's why I came out here to take a look, and I wasn't upset. Regardless, he was really bothered by my tone. I tried to explain that it might come across that way because we're several rooms apart yelling back and forth, and I was preparing for a demo Friday, so maybe I had a hard time mentally switching gears while focused. Ultimately, I said, "I'm sorry. I never want to make you feel bad. I'll work on my tone. I understand we may not always be aware of how our tone is perceived by others." I suggested a solution for future communication, that instead of assuming I'm upset, he asks me if everything's okay or if I'm busy. He shut that shit down. And told me the best solution is to be having a good tone with him at all times.
Oh, Lord
despite
Jesus.
whatever I have going on. I said, "That's not really realistic. Communication would go a long way here." He then starts going on about how he was just in my office and I wasn't even doing anything.
Ooh.
I again explained I was on lunch, and after I handed him my plate, I went back to work. This isn't the first time he's made comments like this about my work, and I've asked him to stop. He has no idea what I do all day. Just because I'm home when you're home doesn't mean I'm available. Oh, that is such a pet peeve of mine. Oh. Nor does it mean I'm not busy all day if you see me on a break or on lunch. I was hoping for some acknowledgement because I've asked him to stop making assumptions like this about my work and availability, and I've received no acknowledgement. He left angry. I feel defeated, and I am so mentally drained. Am I the asshole?
No. Is he the asshole? Yes. Yeah, very, very much so, actually. Like, intently so. And I don't even see a point in there where you would be the asshole. Like, I can hear something that you would have done that made me go, "Oh, that's questionable. I see why you're asking the question."
Mhm.
You know, having not been there to hear the quote unquote tone
Mhm.
of your response, only reading the word "what," not knowing how that "what" sounded.
What?
That's
how I do
Right. I just have Nilla's interpretation of the "what." And even still, you're yelling back and forth across the room, and you even got up and went to check.
Mhm.
Like, you went above and beyond. If you were busy working, whatever, and ask a random question about a dishwasher while you're working, and you ask for clarification, and they respond, and then you go get it to check. You're a saint. I don't know about a saint, but you definitely got up and you did above and beyond. So no, you were absolutely not the asshole in that situation, and your husband needs therapy.
Well, your husband needs to learn some better communication skills. That's for sure.
Yeah.
What that describes to me is a communication pattern that I see really frequently. Oddly enough, it has to do with how people take care of their needs in relationship. So really briefly, what will happen is that all human beings need things. Like, that's just part of being human. Like, we are not the kind of creature that can just like get born, walk away into the forest, and be like, "Let me go get some berries." Like we have to depend on other beings to care for us for not just a short period of time, but for years of our lives and actually throughout our lives. We are interdependent. We are connected socially. We're connected in a lot of different ways. But we need other human beings to be able to live and support ourselves in a variety of different ways. Now, if I get the message when I'm a little kid that the best way to be accepted into this social network is to not need anything, right? What happens for those kids is they get this kind of like dual process happening. They feel really good and kind and loving and sweet because they are, because they're meeting other people's needs. So when other people need things, they are there, right? The flip side, though, is because they have learned to try to not need things, is that they also feel taken advantage of. They feel resentful. They feel taken for granted. And that kind of sits in this parallel place, right? So then what happens is that when they need something, so all those needs happen. Right? It all blows up. And then I'm in a different communication pattern. What are you doing?
You were muted.
You asked me to mute.
Oh, yeah. Never mind. You're supposed to be muted.
Okay.
Never mind. Keep going. Sorry, I was confused.
That's all right. It's a great analogy.
Yeah.
Broken down. It's fine. So, when that thing explodes, they then move into a different communication pattern. That communication pattern is really aggressive. It's very demanding. It's very in your face. It is all about getting my needs met, right? And getting my needs met immediately in the way that I need to get those needs met because I've been holding on for so long, right? That then has the effect of now I feel like a terrible person. Now I feel like I'm damaging my relationships. I'm angry at myself because I don't want to be behaving these ways. So then I think, you know what? I know what to do. I'm going to go right back to being quiet. It doesn't do me any good when I tell people what I need or when I get to a point where I actually need something. So let me go back to not needing anything. And we call that communication pattern passive aggressive, right? So I move from a passive state of communication where I'm not actually telling you the problems and challenges and needs that I have into an aggressive form of communication in which I'm making my needs apparent in your face and your fault. Right. That to me says absolutely your boyfriend needs some different ways to support his needs.
And some therapy.
I mean, therapy would be helpful in that endeavor, right? But finding different ways to be able to actually support my needs and to be able to ask what I need. What you just said was, can you just ask me for what you need? And that would take that person right out of that passive aggressive communication period, right? Because if I could do that, I wouldn't be in there. I would be in that pattern to begin with. So yeah, definitely therapy would be great. Coaching could be helpful here. A lot of times it's not that people want to be behaving this way. They just don't know how to get out of the pattern. They don't understand why they're in the pattern. And their partners don't understand it. So they get caught in that pattern too. They start bouncing off of each other. So yeah, I would suggest that some good relationship coaching would certainly help these folks. Because their challenge, it seems like it's the dishwasher or just the fact that they're together or that there's a tone, but the challenge is actually how people get their needs met in that relationship.
Yeah, it definitely sounds also like there's more than just about the dishwasher.
No, that's passive aggressive.
Yeah.
That's the volcano part of passive aggressive. When it blows up and you're like, whoa, what the heck?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, excellent.
Yeah, so there, that's our show.
Yeah, what'd you think about this round of Am I the Asshole? How do you feel these went?
I like them. One, I like that I get to look at you this time, which we didn't do before. We finally figured that out, y'all. So I'm super excited about that. Let us know your thoughts about the split screen that we're doing as opposed to sitting side by side. I prefer it, but you can let me know. And then also, I am interested to hear what our listeners think. Whether they are also excited about learning about these various assholes and non-assholes, whether they want different kinds of content. I'm super excited. We can't announce it just yet, but we are putting together something really exciting to be kind of out and about this summer. So I don't know. I mean, I like all of it so far. I'm
Yeah, so
really digging this whole thing.
Be sure to stay tuned. You can always follow us on social medias at Rainbow Dreamcatcher. Just look for Rainbow Dreamcatcher, the Love Podcast, and we'll pop up.
You'll see us.
We're the only people named Rainbow
We're the only
Dreamcatcher, the
ones.
Love Podcast. So in the Facebook, Instagram, I think we have I don't know if we have a TikTok or not, but we appreciate all you colorful humans tuning in. Remember, I don't know if you see it, we got some Rainbow Dreamcatcher merch. Feel free, you can swing on over to whereisbigsexy.com and get some Rainbow Dreamcatcher merch.
This has been
Rainbow Dreamcatcher, the podcast.
Bye-bye.
Bye.